It was just after 9 p.m. A quiet night in a small parking lot outside a local restaurant. She was sitting in the passenger seat scrolling through her phone. Her new boyfriend sat beside her, engine idling, music low. They were laughing, talking about nothing, maybe deciding what dessert to grab on the way home. Then he appeared. Not with anger, not with shouting, not with a scene. Just silence. He stepped out of his car, walked toward them, and as he reached the window, she looked up. The man she had once married, the man she had divorced, the father of her children. There was no time to speak, no time to scream. He raised his arm and pulled the trigger. One shot, then another, then another. 7 in total. She died before the medics arrived. People ran, others froze. Her boyfriend survived. But this isn't just about what happened in those final seconds. This is about what led up to them. The tension no one saw. The signs ignored. The quiet warnings whispered to friends, written in texts, hinted at in conversations. This is about a woman trying to move on, and a man who simply couldn't let go. And the moment that changed everything, forever. On paper, it looked like the kind of love story you hear in passing and forget by dinner. Two young parents, once full of plans, laughter echoing through tiny apartments and late-night drives. Photos show smiles that seem genuine, a wedding dress carefully chosen, a groom with eyes only for her, a new family built on promises. But time chipped away at that picture. Words turned sharp, distance widened, and before long the marriage dissolved. Quietly, officially, legally, she was starting over, slowly, carefully. A new job, a new place, and eventually a new man. Someone calm, someone kind, someone who didn't raise his voice. But less than a year after the divorce, she was dead. Shot 7 times while sitting beside the man who had nothing to do with the past she was trying to leave behind. So, what happened? Who was she really? Beyond the headlines. Why did he follow her that night? And what did she know? That made her start locking her doors even in daylight. Atlanta, Georgia. A city known for its music, culture, booming skyline. And a reputation that's far more complicated once the sun goes down. For decades, Atlanta has balanced 2 realities. On one side, wealth and innovation. On the other, neighborhoods scarred by decades of poverty, mistrust, and violent crime. From the unsolved Atlanta child murders of the 1980s to the rise of organized drug networks in the early 2000s, violence in the city has never been random. It's often personal, intimate, close. In recent years, homicides have surged. Police reports show a disturbing trend. Many of these killings don't happen in alleyways or during robberies. They happen in living rooms, parking lots, and bedrooms, between people who once loved each other, or claimed they did. In 2023 alone, Atlanta saw over 140 homicides. Nearly half were domestic, partners, exes, family members, and within that number, just one parking lot, outside one ordinary restaurant, would become the scene of one of the city's most haunting cases. A woman trying to rebuild, a man watching her move on, and a quiet night shattered by 7 shots. In a city already used to headlines soaked in blood, this one still found a way to leave people speechless. If stories like this matter to you, if you believe these voices deserve to be heard, and these truths deserve to be told, make sure you're subscribed. Click the like button so more people see what others try to ignore. And tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you were in her shoes? Your thoughts. They keep these stories alive. Her name was Tamara Ellis, 34 years old, mother of 2. She worked long hours at a pediatric clinic in East Point, just outside Atlanta. Patients remembered her laugh. Nurses said she stayed late even when no one asked her to. And at home? She was the glue, the kind of mom who showed up to everything, even after a double shift. Friends described her as loyal, resilient, The type of woman who would give you advice she needed for herself, but never said a word when she was the one hurting. She met Marcus at Georgia State. He was tall, sharp, had a way with words that made you feel like you were the only one in the room. They fell hard, fast, married before graduation. She wore white, even though she was 5 months pregnant. Said it didn't matter. She was happy. And for a while it looked like that happiness would hold. But behind closed doors, things weren't easy. He started checking her phone, showed up at her job unannounced. Friends noticed how quiet she got when he walked in the room. She stopped going out, stopped laughing the same way. Then came the arguments, the late-night calls to her sister, the moments where her voice cracked but she insisted everything was fine. There were no police reports at first, no restraining orders, just silence. The kind that sits between two people when love turns into something else entirely. And then she left, packed what she could, took the kids, moved into her cousin's guest room, filed for divorce. He didn't take it well. They shared custody, but the texts kept coming, the late-night voicemails. He told her she'd regret this, said she was breaking their family. Still, she moved forward. 6 months after the divorce, she met someone new, Chris Montgomery, 36, manager at a car rental spot near the airport. They met at the front desk. He offered to carry her keys. She joked about his smile. The next week, he sent flowers to her job. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't dramatic, and for the first time in years, she felt safe. They started dating quietly, just the two of them. Dinner at home, walks with the kids, but someone else was watching, paying attention, and slowly getting closer. It was a Friday, October 13th. Tamara had just finished her shift at the clinic. She picked up her youngest from aftercare, dropped both kids off at her sister's house for the night, and sent a quick text. Finally, a quiet evening. I needed this. She was headed to meet Chris for dinner at a small restaurant off Old National Highway. Casual, low-key. They'd been there before. Never any trouble. At 8:52 p.m., surveillance footage captured her silver Honda pulling into the lot. She stepped out smiling, wearing jeans and a hoodie. Chris met her at the door. They were seated near the window, ordered drinks, laughed, talked. At 9:34 p.m., the same cameras caught a dark-colored Dodge Charger circling the parking lot. Slowly, once, then again. Then it parked. The driver stayed inside for 5 minutes. At 9:41 p.m., Tamara and Chris got up, paid the bill, and walked out to the car. She slid into the passenger seat. 2 minutes later, Marcus opened his door. Witnesses say he didn't run. He didn't shout. He didn't even look angry. He walked up to the car, raised his arm, and fired. 7 rounds. Close range. Through the passenger window. Tamara was hit in the chest, shoulder, neck. She died before help arrived. Chris survived, injured by shattered glass and flying debris. He said he froze. Couldn't believe what was happening. A 911 call came in seconds later. A woman sobbing in the background, a man yelling, "He shot her! He shot her! Please, she's not breathing." When officers arrived, Marcus was already gone. But what came next changed everything. Detectives reviewed his phone. There were text messages, notes, location pings, and one screen-captured document, time-stamped just 72 hours earlier. A copy of the restraining order Tamara had filed, but hadn't yet told anyone about. In a message to her best friend, sent 2 nights before she died, Tamara wrote, "If anything happens to me, check my ex's name first." In the days that followed Tamara's murder, investigators sifted through Marcus's history. What they found shook them to their core. The protective order was just one piece of the puzzle. Marcus had been stalking her for weeks. His phone records showed constant pings to her location. He knew when she worked, when she dropped the kids off, when she was alone. And he wasn't shy about his intentions. The night before the shooting, he sent a chilling text to a friend. "Tomorrow's the day." It wasn't an impulsive act of rage, it was planned, cold, calculated. The night before the murder, Marcus had been in the parking lot. He knew exactly where Tamara would be, and when. And the surveillance footage told the story. At 8 p.m., he'd already scoped out the area. At 9 p.m., he was back in the lot, sitting in his car, waiting. When investigators found his search history, it was worse than anyone imagined. He had Googled how to disable a car alarm, how to get away with murder, even searched for how long does it take for someone to bleed out from a gunshot wound. This wasn't a crime of passion, as he tried to claim. This wasn't some moment of irrational fury. This was execution. He walked up to that car, calm, controlled, and shot her like he was checking something off a list. 7 shots, 7 rounds, no warning. The question remained, why? Why kill her when she was already out of his life? What was the one thing Tamara knew that made her so afraid of him? And why, after everything, did he still think he could walk away scot-free? Marcus was arrested 2 days after the shooting. The investigation revealed the truth behind his cold, calculated actions. He was charged with first-degree murder and attempted murder. At trial, his defense team tried to paint the killing as a crime of passion. But the evidence said otherwise. On the stand, the jury heard the chilling details: his planning, his obsession, his coldness. The courtroom grew quiet when the prosecutor read aloud the messages Marcus sent to friends in the weeks leading up to the murder. And then, just days before it happened, a note to his lawyer asking for advice on how to get away with it. It didn't take long for the jury to convict him. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. But even with that sentence, the wounds remained. Tamara's mother spoke outside the courthouse, holding back tears as she said, "She tried to leave. She tried to live." And still, he found her. Her children, now without their mother, grew up asking why their mom had to die, why no one could protect her from the man who once swore to love her. Chris Montgomery, the boyfriend who survived, vowed to be there for her kids, but the loss still haunted him. "I thought we had more time," he said. "I thought we were safe." Outrage spread across Atlanta. Protests began outside the courthouse. People called for stronger domestic violence protections, and louder cries echoed for stricter enforcement of protective orders. But the question lingered. Was this enough? How many more women had to die for the system to truly protect them? What if Tamara's voice had been heard sooner? What if the system had done more to stop him when she asked for help? Do you think justice was really served in this case? Or did the system fail her long before the bullets did? Could this have been prevented? Was Marcus's obsession something that should have been noticed sooner? Could someone have stepped in to save Tamara before it was too late? How many others like her are out there, living in fear, without the chance to escape before it's too late? One decision, one obsession, one moment of ultimate control, and now she's gone. Tamara had dreams. Dreams of seeing her children grow up, of helping other mothers like her in the clinic, of traveling to Paris one day. But all those dreams ended in an instant, because she couldn't outrun the danger that followed her. Her story doesn't have to be a statistic. In her honor, her family started the Tamara Ellis Foundation, dedicated to helping victims of domestic violence, to raise awareness, provide resources, and fight for stricter protection laws. If you or someone you know is in danger, please reach out. The number for the National Domestic Violence Hotline is on your screen right now. But the question remains, can we stop this from happening again? What do you think? Was this tragedy inevitable? Or was it the result of a broken system? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're watching this, share it. Share her story. Share the message. Because Tamara's voice is still out there, and together, we can make sure it's heard. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay aware, and take care of each other. What do you think? Was this a case of justice or another failure in the system? Comment below with your thoughts, theories, and any questions you still have about the case. We want to hear from you, and if you haven't yet, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story like this one. For more chilling true crime stories, check out our video on the woman who predicted her own murder, just weeks before it happened. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.